I was grateful for that experience. It humbled me and reminded me how grateful I am to be born in a country like this one. Not too long after that, I received orders to go to Khobar Towers in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia. It was in 1996. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. After a grueling 22-hour flight, multiple jumps from aircraft to aircraft, I remember landing in Dhahran and getting off the plane, and it was like hitting a brick wall with that heat. It had to be about 1:15, 1:20 during the day, and that was the first time I experienced it. And somehow I ended up in the desert. Go figure. After that followed, of course, the briefing process and the intake process, which lasted forever. I remember being exhausted and getting to my dorm, which I was looking forward to, putting my bags down, sitting down, and just getting some rest. But I didn't have an opportunity to do that because minutes after I put my bag down and sat down for a quick breather, we had an instant training exercise, GASC, time to don your chem gear. Mind you, it was 100+ degrees outside, and we sat out there cooking to death until this exercise was over. I knew at that point it was going to be an interesting time, a time to take something serious and to keep my eye out. 2 days prior to June 25th, 1996, I was on top of the building 131 that later exploded. The explosion was approximately 5,000 pounds of explosives and blew a hole 85 feet deep and 35 feet wide. It killed 19 Air Force members and injured 498. I myself was at the main gate, and I'll never forget the white, bright flash, the loud crack of lightning, the gust of that shockwave that hit, and then the mushroom cloud. I knew things were going south very fast. I'll never forget having that inner conversation in my mind where I saw those that couldn't handle what was going on and those that kept calm. And I had to make that choice of, where do I stand in this? Do I lose control or do I gain control? And I'm grateful for my Air Force training that helped me keep my control to the best of my ability. Things were intense and lasted for many hours. When I got a ride back to my dormitory, I never thought it was real what I saw in war movies where everything was silent and I couldn't hear anything and all I saw was destruction. I got to my dorm and thought about what I was experiencing and how much longer I had to be there. I was grateful to be there, but I felt like in some way that I failed my fellow airmen. Excuse me. Even getting out of there was dangerous. They had to change flights back and forth, and that high intensity anxiety was always looming. Not until we landed was there a chance to take a breather. For 25 years, it took me to figure out how to manage the experience I had. I went through alcohol, rehabilitations, emergency rooms, and even jail. The shame, survivor's guilt that I had from my experiences was too much for me to handle. And I was handling it the only way and the best way I could, and that was trying to hide it. Somehow I ended up in Arizona. It's kind of like you just blink and just show up somewhere. Well, one thing I will say is that where I'm at now and looking back on my experience, some would say, don't you wish that never happened? And of course, but it also led to some beauty that occurs in the future. I'm sorry, I need a second. Eventually, I found myself married and having twins, a boy and a girl. I was one of the luckiest men alive, but I had to sit here and analyze my life and think about how I was living and what I was going to pass on to my children. Was I going to pass on substance abuse and trauma, anxiety, stress, depression, guilt, fear? I refused to do that, so I reached out for help and got it. I kept reaching out until I continued to do better and better. Eventually, I got to the point where life started changing based on one practice, and that practice was gratitude for the life that I had been given.